The word occult actually means hidden. It was called that because, you know, the Catholics and all the Christian types got really upset about people practicing medicine and all that sort of jazz and drove it all underground. So the word occult, when you talk about occult this or that sounds occult, actually means that sounds hidden. Perhaps it could also be considered sort of a relative of the word subversive. The occult sections of the city are the hidden sections. They're the alleyways, they're the areas where people just don't go, and more than not going, they want to pretend that those areas don't even exist. The homeless people on the streets who look at you and they look hungry and they don't even ask for money anymore. Instead, they just kind of watch you. And you wonder what happens to all the people who go missing every year. Is it true that man is the only species on the planet, the only dominant species without predators? Or are there predators that exist within these realms that we don't know about? We call them by different names. Sure, some are called, well, criminals, prisoners, serial killers, lots of different names for these predators that prey on man. But it makes you wonder sometimes if there's not something else. Maybe in the dark underside of the cities, that's where the creatures from the forests of yesterday now hide. The occult sections of the city. Graffiti is very telling. The first thing that's going to happen is I'm in a low light circumstance in here. So we got to change our optics up. When I'm in low light, I like to use yellow lenses. Filters out the blue light and increases contrast. This is the advantage of using the proper gear for the proper job. Fuck, it's cold in here. It's another thing too, telltale supernatural sign, is temperature drop. And I don't mean like it's kind of cool, I mean it's cold in here. Like it is really cold in here. So I still haven't seen anything definitive though. I've seen a couple of shoes. I've got a couple of, you know, bad feeling. I ain't gonna cut it in my world though. And that child's shoe outside, that was, that's Chinese make. Probably bought within the last 5 years. And this house here, I mean, you got architectural qualities on the ceiling here. This house has been here for a long time. Long enough that the Heritage Society has got stuff to do with it. Now, your next big telltale sign in cult activity in abandoned houses or in supernatural activity is, surprisingly enough, graffiti. Because graffiti matters. These people thought whatever they had to say, sure there's going to be some kids here, I just brighten this whole house right up. Yeah, that's perfect. Okay, we got, looks like a squat in the kitchen. We got a mattress. And I'm real leery of mattresses that are empty. Because everything else in this room has got shit piled on it except for that mattress. Maybe one pillow and a piece of dilapidated board. Which means that mattress is used. This here, that isn't broken, that's cut. Which means that whatever's in the basement is trying to get up and try to come up through the basement, through the roof. Produce some heat, lit the walls on fire, but the thing didn't burn. Got to bear in mind this. Got to bear in mind this house is all wood construction. I mean, there's no insulation on the inside walls. If you were to show a fireman that, he'd tell you there's absolutely no reason why that didn't just take the whole house. So it's not the question of why did it start burning, the question is why did it stop. And circles, which are dangerous. You never, ever, ever, ever go through any kind of circles or vertomatrix markings on the ground. You gotta understand that something as simple as this here, that's a defined perimeter, okay? We got edge there that he's putting around. We got a rug in the middle. Just because you don't understand it doesn't mean that it doesn't have some kind of significance to somebody. So it's best to avoid markings on ground, any kind of power circles, runes, anything like that. And again, most of the best things are hidden in plain view. Got some children's toys on the ground. And a great big fucking shoe. Yeah, we're not going down there. This is an initial recce only. When in doubt, stay in the light. And we got a twin landing here. This place would be a CQB nightmare. That's a nice touch. I like the flowers. Divination. Divination is a lot more useful to the WOG. Reason why divination is useful is because the whole purpose of divination would mean to divine, to find, to locate, to secure information, that kind of a thing. That's what divination's all about. Now, there's many ways of using divination. Some people use divining rods. You've probably heard of those. Or, you know, the fork stick, and they use it to find water. There's also people who use runes, tarot cards, pendulums, things like that, to get answers to questions and to learn information. Now, you would think this would be the easiest way to prove the existence of something beyond self, right? Because you're just to have ask, you know, double-blind questions where the guy doesn't know the answer, so obviously the cards can't give him the answer. But the problem with a lot of divination is very, very vague and open to a lot of interpretations. The only kind of divination that I know of that is not open to interpretation are the guys who can locate water with the divining rods and things like that. And I know people can do it. They're amazingly accurate. And you can, this is called dowsing, by the way, when you do all that. So technically that is a form of divination. That is divining information, but it's done through dowsing. So it's not really the same thing. But when you're looking at things like the pendulum that you swing back and forth and ask questions, if it's circular, it's no. If it's this way, it's yes or maybe or whatever. There's all sorts of different ways of doing it, okay? And then that gives you your information back. Or tarot cards, that's a form of divination. What's happening with me? Where's my future going to go? Who's in charge of my life? Because it sure shit isn't me. You know, this is all part of divination. Now, I think that if we could somehow cross interrogation with divination, we'd be doing good. For example, if we could get someone to channel a spirit into, you know, some, you know, race trader person who throws in with the, you know, demonic sects or whatever, we could, you know, get, you know, the spirit into them, you know, and then ask them questions, you know, with a little bit of force compliance. But unfortunately, you know, there are certain laws that exist that, you know, don't make that legal. And again, law enforcement gets really upset when you're walking around with the USB talking about demons. So you can't really be doing that. So you're kind of limited to like runes, tarot cards, that kind of thing. But it is useful and is something that you can keep in the toolbox. I don't pull it out of the toolbox much because frankly, it's kind of like reading your horoscope. To some degree, you're like, well, it doesn't really tell me about anything that's going to happen. But it is something with the right kind of person, with the right kind of guy doing it, you can get some pretty accurate information. So, I'm here with Susie Francis. And she's a witch.
Yeah.
Now, what does that mean exactly?
I'm a white witch.
Okay.
I'm a white witch. I'm a Wiccan.
Okay.
I believe in the 3 rules.
Which are?
Number 1, whatever you do comes back to you threefold.
Right.
Never do anything to hurt or harm anyone else.
Right.
And never do anything to hurt or harm yourself.
Okay. Okay, so, but past that, that whole, esoteric, be cool with things. Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, you guys generally do the magic thing.
Magic stuff is good.
Yeah, so you do the whole conjuration kind of thing.
Not so much conjuration, but a lot of mental power and a lot of mental strength goes into ruling my world.
Okay, so we're talking about, what I'm getting at here is you guys have some kind of contact through one way or another with the supernatural world.
Yeah, a simpler way of putting it is the Force.
Okay, but so that's the whole Jedi thing. But generally, we're talking about stuff not accepted by science.
That's right.
That
You
would
don't
be-
accept what I do.
Okay, now what I got here is I got this idea because the Wogs in my world, see, we're going after the supernatural. That's the plan here. And in order for me to make this happen, is I'm going to be I've come up with this idea to see if there's something out there. Like if I have a box and I know that it's going to do something, if I press the button, the only way you can find out what it does is to press the button and you watch what happens.
Right.
So I've got I made this sort of a bomb that I want to let go. And hear me out. It's called Operation Ghost Dance. And what we're going to do is we're going to take, on a certain date, now I've got to go down and talk to my buddy to get a proper celestial date, but I want your opinion of what you think this could do as a ritual. Okay?
Okay.
Okay. On a certain date, which will be chosen later, okay?
Okay.
But it'll be a date having to do with celestial alignment, okay?
Right.
I'm going to get everyone who's a WOG, and this is anyone who wants to participate in this, and this is probably, I'm aiming, the number I'm working with is 1,000 people worldwide. Okay.
Okay.
So I've got a minimum. Okay, so we're going with minimums of 1,000. Could be 10,000, could be 30,000, but we're going with minimums here. Okay.
Okay.
So we got 10,000 people, and I'm going to get them all to make themselves a circle of protection, a circle, and a star. Okay, inside on a bed sheet or something that they can lay down as a mat to create some kind of space for themselves. Okay.
A pentagram.
Yeah, exactly. But to work as a shielding, as a power focus mechanism, because apparently the books I've read that's what they do. Okay.
You have to be careful with pentagrams.
Hear me out. Let me just tell you the whole gig, and then you can give me what's going on.
Okay.
Then once they're inside that pentagram, okay, they're all going to be getting a quartz crystal, okay, and they're all going to be sitting there. Now, at a precise time, okay, up until say it would happen at I haven't got the time chosen yet either, but the precise time, say we made it 8 o'clock. At about 6 o'clock, we get these guys to get their heads open a little bit. The chanting, meditation, pharmaceuticals, whatever. They're going to get their brains opened up. And then at about 8 o'clock, I'm going to broadcast an MK Ultra modified transmission through the internet to a set of headphones that all of these people that are in this cumulative, at that exact moment in time, synchronized all over the planet. I'm going to have all these guys getting this transmission and the whole focus of the transmission is to awaken the mundane. It's to awaken all latent powers inside the mind. Now, I don't know what power is going to be awakened, but it's going to turn on your head.
Okay.
And I'm not done.
Okay.
And then there's no electrical power going to be used. It's all going to be, there's just going to be lights. I was thinking about having a symbol that they might focus on, but we may not use that. And then after they do I think it's like 90 minutes is the MK Ultra programming CD that I have. After they do that, they turn off all of their media to focus on the effects of that programming and the media, and this includes like very minimal contact. Like, of course, you'll have to speak on the phone, I suppose, if you're so inclined. But there's no video, there's no computer, there's none of that for 30 days. The only thing they're allowed to do is read, and that's it. If they are totally jonesing for stimulus, they are allowed to read, but there is no other things happening for up to 30 days. And at that time, it's treated like a chiropractic adjustment. If I were to go and snap their heads a little bit, then they wait for 30 days for that change to have full effect on their bodies, mind, body, spirit. And I'm thinking that by the numbers, by the data I've been able to pull out of books and stuff, this should do something.
Oh, it will.
Yeah, what will it do?
First of all, you have to take precautions.
Well,
You must learn, if you've read books and you understand,
yeah,
then all of them should be facing in the same direction.
like north.
Like north or south or east or west, and depending on the powers you're trying to awaken.
Well, it's blanket statement. Anything that's in there, anything in your head, wakes up.
There are so many things in there.
Yeah, I know.
You've got to be careful.
Why?
That you don't awaken something that is totally evil rather than totally good.
But it'll be something. We'll have evidence of the supernatural right there.
I know. What are you going to do when you awaken this evil being?
Well, that's if we awaken one. I guess we'll deal with it then.
No, it's not a case of if, it's when.
Why?
Because that's the rules.
What rules?
the basic rules of anything you do with your mind, your heart, your soul, your whole being. Everybody has good and bad in them.
Yeah.
Be careful you don't awaken the bad.
Well, why though? I mean, well, look at the world.
Because the bad will destroy. The good will help create and protect.
All right, so you're saying that if I do this, what's the threat here?
The threat is that they could turn into an army, if you say a minimum of 1,000 people,
Right.
will suddenly turn around and destroy whatever's within their range.
That'd be something.
Yes, but then you would be responsible for creating...
No, I'm just doing an experiment over here.
Oh, no. You must, everyone has to take, in my religion of Wicca, you take responsibility for all your actions. Therefore,
That's some heavy stuff on me.
that is heavy stuff on you.
Well, I'm willing to risk that. I'm here to tell you, I'm willing to risk that.
May I make a suggestion?
I like to think about facing north, though. That's good.
Facing north is a safe direction.
Oh, well, we don't really want safe. What's the unsafe
No,
direction?
I'm saying safe mentally.
What's an unsafe mental direction?
An unsafe mental direction is east.
East. Okay, what if they all...
Then there are certain power points around the planet.
Say we pick...
One is Stonehenge, another one is down in California.
How about Glastonbury Tor? What if I got everybody in the world to
Yes,
focus on...
Glastonbury Tor is a great direction because I'm sure that the fairies would love it.
The fairies.
The fairies, yes. That's another realm.
Can you expand on that a little bit?
Have you ever been doing something and noticed something out of the corner of your eye and then when you turned it wasn't there?
Yeah.
That's a fairy.
So we got this fairy thing. We got the... So, hang on. Okay, so...
But that's another realm.
That is another realm. We'll deal with the fairy issue at a later date and determine whether or not they're a menace. But for right now... you're telling me I got these things running around my house. So I'm not going to be into that. Can you trap them?
No.
There's got to be ways to trap them.
But you can ask them to leave.
Well, they were banished. You said that before.
You can banish them.
Didn't
you
the
can
church
ask them to leave.
Didn't the church trap them and kill them and stuff like that?
The church tried to.
Did they reach any success?
The only way they managed to stop fairies from being around was they taught people that they were non-existent.
Oh, okay. So that's like the whole power belief thing.
That's right. The power of belief.
So even...
So if you open a door with all your people,
Mm-hmm.
some of the things they may find that they realize and recognize and see will be fairies.
So that's possible.
That's possible.
That is possible. Okay.
You open your mind to a lot of things and you can see almost anything. And you can hear anything.
So you're saying that these people, like, once we do this, and the MK Ultra programming I got, the whole point of it is to awaken...
You awaken their inner spirit.
Yeah.
And what will happen is they may even regress and find their past life coming back to them.
Really?
And they may find that they have more knowledge than they thought they had.
Okay, hang on. Getting back to this is on the ghost dance here. What do you suppose, let's say I've got 1,000 people.
Right.
Okay, who, I like the facing east thing, or maybe focusing on a point. I don't really want to have a sacred point, though, because that gets a little weird. So I want to try to keep it as general as we can. So,
Well, if you keep it general, I would recommend north.
Why over east?
Well, north is, you're talking about a pole.
Right.
Polar point.
Right.
Everybody's facing one point.
Right.
And it doesn't matter where you are in the world.
Right.
It could be south or north.
But if you go east, wouldn't that just kind of create more energy and kind of spin around the planet?
No, it doesn't. Because you're trying to get everyone to focus. So you need a point to focus. North is a great focus, or south.
Well, with the programming, I suppose. Okay, so we'll say north. We'll say north for now. Okay,
Yeah, I think north would be easier for you.
All right, whatever. And then we got then we got the quartz crystal, which is amping stuff out.
And besides your pentagram and your circle, you should have candles.
Oh yeah, there's candles in there. Sorry, I thought I told you
put
that.
5 candles at
One
your
in
5
each
points.
Right. Okay. So
Okay.
five burning candles and no
Five
electrical lights at all.
No electrical lights at all.
Okay, that means no computer, no video screen,
Nothing.
none of that. Okay.
Nothing.
Now, let's say I've got 1,000 hardcore wogs.
Right?
Okay, who crank their heads open using whatever means they see fit.
Yes.
Okay, then they take in this programming. What do you suppose the percentage of reaction would be? Meaning, how many people would just, at the end of it, take the headphones off and go, that was bullshit, nothing happened there, versus people went, whoa, something's happening.
It depends on what your program is.
The program is, it's not really important. It's just
Well, it
this
is
MK Ultra
important.
thing that I got. That the whole focus is essentially it's activation. I'm just going wonk, turn your head on. That's
You're
it.
turning your head on. Well, they may find that
And
they have
personal empowerment. That's it.
personal empowerment is what they will have, because
How many? Like out of 1,000, percentage-wise, roughly, give or take. I won't hold you to it.
I'd say about 80%.
80%. So like 800 people would have tangible result.
Oh yeah, they'll have results. Even the other 20% will have a result of one form or another.
So it doesn't. Okay, so you're saying 80%. So if I got 1,000 minimum, 1,000, that's like 800 people.
If they are all open.
Yeah, if they manage to get themselves open through whatever means they see fit.
If they're open, you may even have 100%. Because when you're open to receiving a suggestion,
right.
It's like hypnosis.
Right.
Okay?
Yeah.
If you're open to receiving the suggestion, you are empowered.
Right. Now the thing is though, is I'm looking for I'm not just looking for I'm not trying to mass hypnotize people. I'm looking for tangible physical result. I'm looking for there's a demon, let's kill it, put it on eBay.
No. What will happen is they may even all be able to levitate. They may all be able to communicate with one another mentally. You may open you see we only use a very minute portion of our brains.
Right. And if I the whole purpose of this thing is to broadcast, because I've taken, it's music that I've augmented in post-production because I got a manual from the 60s, okay,
right.
that has all the MK Ultra programming in it, and I've broken it down, and using technology we have now, it's very easy to put the right kind of brainwave on that to just stimulate the brain and to crank it open.
The thing is, you've got a lot of brain to crank open, and
there's
a lot of people who don't know what the rest of our brains do.
Well, I know, and that's my point, and that's why I want to turn it on.
Okay.
Yeah.
Turn it on. Yeah. You may find you have people who can raise up 2-ton blocks with their minds. You'll have people who will be able to do things that everybody said, oh, that's impossible.
Really?
Really. Because that's what happens when you open yourself.
And you're basing this upon what? Like, where do you get the authority to say that?
Well, it's general knowledge, even in science today.
In the Wiccan community, like there'd be another person who's a witch who'd pretty much agree with what you're saying here. You're not just a lone person saying
No,
this.
I'm not a lone person. A lot of the Wiccan people, when we get together, we communicate by touching one another, and we chant, and we feel a power within us. And there's many of us that can, all of a sudden, we can communicate mentally. We can levitate things. We can move from one realm to another. Astral projection is one of the things that I'm talking about. You can go to Mars. So
there's a chance these people could astral project
and really actually come to see you where you are.
Well, I think that generally they should probably, because all astral projection starts the same way. They see themselves.
That's right. No, but to see you. They could leave where they are mentally and all be in front of you, looking at you. You won't see them. But
I'm going to be doing this at the same time.
Well, then you'll all be together. You will all have a force of a power together if you could do that. That's one of the things that...
but that will be proof of the supernatural, though. Because the whole purpose of Ghost Dance, of the operation, is to see that there is something. That's it. That's all I want. I don't care what happens. If people are bursting into flames, I could give a shit less. So long as everybody who takes part in Operation Ghost Dance is well aware of the threats and risks, but we're just, the wogs are sick of it, we're going to cut the shit.
Be prepared. Be prepared for all kinds of results.
Well, we're all about being prepared.
But it will happen. Okay. The supernatural is amazing. And there are a lot of good supernatural things, but there's a lot of bad.
Oh, really?
There's just as much evil in this world as there is good.
Necromancy. Necro, dead, mancy. Necro, meaning dead, is all about, it's the science of having to do with the dead. Talking to the dead, communicating with the dead. If they're dead, you're talking to them. That's necromancy. Now, there's fellas out there who've used necromancy in history. Professor John Dee was one. He was one of the advisors to the court of Queen Victoria. Ooh, really stretching the memory there. But he was an advisor of the royal court, and he used to claim that he was the founder of Enochian magic, which was magic of the angels. Woo! Which is actually demonology. But everybody wants their own slice of the pie. No, I'm not doing demonology. I'm doing Enochian magic, which isn't. No, dude, you're dealing with outworld entities, and they're technically angels, which makes them demons, which makes it demonology. But that's okay. That's okay. You can be all pushy. I'm not a hacker. I'm a cracker. Okay, whatever. Fine. Before there was this argument in our modern day context, this all went way back in history. People were always trying to define themselves. But for me, necromancy is anything involving the dead. Zombies, people reanimating the dead, necromancy, all of it. And in order, quite quite often, which is something I've never seen in any films, you'll often have zombies, but you never actually see the necromancer. You never see the person who's controlling the zombies. Normally it's just, random zombies wandering around with no purpose or direction in life, collecting welfare, watching TV, things like that. It's a terrible film. But if you have a necromancer, a person going, "Go forth, my zombies, and bring me back the scantily clad virgins," this is much better. It makes for a more enjoyable film. Necromancers throughout history have been bad people. Reason why is because if you're controlling the dead, eventually the necromancer themselves dies, and well, the dead are waiting for them when they get across, because the dead really don't like being commanded by necromancers. This has been capitalized on huge by the fantasy genre, so you'll have quite these fantastic visions of necromancers. But to some degree, if you're having a seance, you all get together, hold hands around a table, and try to commune with the dead, necromancy, you betcha. And what's going to happen is they're generally going to be kind of pissed off with that. Necromancy is also Ouija boards. Ouija. French, yes. German, yes. Ouija. Developed in Egypt, brought up by the gypsies all throughout Europe. And then you have the modern Ouija board, which was never actually a board to start with. It was actually a ceremony done on cards, and they lay them all out. You can do it at home. I'll show you how to do it later. Anyway, anyone could do this. Very, very, very easy to do. But it is necromancy. And when you start dealing with that, whether or not it's the barrier between the lands of the living and the lands of the dead, things get a little bit fuzzy there. Because you can get a lot more tangible results when you're asking for specific things. A lot of freaky stuff has happened with Ouija boards. And I've been privy to some of it. I've seen some of it. So I've never seen, the guy ripping out of the ground, the eye and brains, and no, none of that. But I have seen some stuff happen while using Ouija boards. Was this self-suggestion? Is it just stuff that happened out of coincidence and now I'm blaming the Ouija board? These are things that when you're 12 and messing around with the neighbor's kids, you're not really thinking tactically. I know. I'm sorry. But there was no, internet at that time. It's not my fault. Anyway, the point is that now there's no excuse for anyone to be messing around with a Ouija board without having it recorded, documented, make sure you got some sensors up, working with the dead. That is the entire concept. If it's dead, you're talking to it, it's necromancy. I got books. When this book was new, it was $18. When this book was new, it was $25. Books are in good shape, no mildew, and they're both in how to look after babies. So there's something here, or somebody here, who's real interested in children. Now, children have a lot of power in occult circles because they're uncorrupted. They're like a battery. They're small. They're life. It's like a seed. Tea light candles. Also, another sure telltale sign that the house isn't being just used by kids or whatever looking for a place to party is there's no smell of urine here. There's no smell of human shit here. Teenagers, when they're just looking for a place to go, they'll piss wherever, they'll shit wherever, whatever. Anytime you're inside a house like this, you see markings on the wall. Make sure you take photos of them so you can check them with runes. Sometimes they'll take Germanic runes and hide them inside of graffiti. You've got to bear in mind that these people have been hiding and been doing occult research and practices for thousands of years. They know how to hide, and they know how to hide things in plain view. That means that's hard to put up there and it means something to somebody. Yeah, there's a heavy vibe coming from this doorway here. bathroom. And this wasn't busted out, this was busted in. Okay, we're gonna avoid that room. Floor's fucked. Why was that hole chopped in the floor? That's like mouse holing. They do that in fibula. You can drop things down, like if you got grenades or whatever, you can drop down to the first floor.
Really?
Yeah. Well, I think we should do a complete pass and then get out of here.
It's another floor.
Always another floor. Remember your first person shooters. Watch your corners. I got a blanket in a bundle. And I've got a bed. I just love unwrapping bundles. Empty. That's a light shield. It's designed to, so if you have a fire in here or something, it doesn't show it up. You want to watch for telltale signs like that. You got a cracked piece of floor going to a great big covered area. Yeah, it's weird. We got a person living here, but whoever lives here is not taking a piss because there's no running water. There's no smell of piss coming from the roof in the daytime. Okay, time to go.